All right. Okay. Welcome, Natural Resource Committee. My name is Senator Bruce Bostelman from Brainerd, representing 23rd Legislative District. I serve as chair of the committee. Today, committee will be taking up several gubernatorial appointments to boards and commissions in order posted. If you are testifying today on one of these appointments, please fill out one of the green testifier sheets that are on the table at the back of the room. Be sure to print clearly and fill it out completely. When it's your turn to come forward to testify, give the testifier sheet to the page or to the committee clerk. And when you come up to testify, please speak clearly into the microphone. Tell us your name and spell your first and last name to ensure we get an accurate record. First, we will begin each hearing with the appointees' opening statement to introduce themselves to the committee, followed by any questions the committee members may have of the appointment. And finally, we will hear from anyone wishing to speak as a proponent or opponent on that appointee. For those testifiers, we will be using a 3-minute light system. When you begin your testimony, the light on the table will be green. When the yellow light comes on, you have 1 minute remaining. And when the red light indicates you need to wrap up your final thought and stop. Questions from the committee may follow. Also, committee members may come and go during the hearing. This is just part of the process, as senators may have other meetings to attend to. Just a reminder to please silence or turn off your cell phones, and that verbal outbursts or applause are not permitted in the hearing room. Such behavior may be cause for you to be asked to leave the hearing. Those committee members present with us today will now introduce themselves, starting on my right.
I am Mike Moser. I represent District 22, Platte County and most of Stanton County.
And we'll wait just a minute. We have a couple more coming in. They can introduce themselves as well. Senator John Kavanaugh got the seat first. I'll let him introduce himself.
Senator John Kavanaugh, District 9, Midtown Omaha.
And on my left.
Sorry, we were at another hearing across the way. District 24, Jana Hughes. It's Seward, York, Polk, and a little bit of Butler County.
So also on my left is Committee Legal Counsel Cindy Lamb, and to my far right is Committee Clerk Lori Ballertson. Our page for the committee today is Landon Sundi. The first gubernatorial appointment we'll hear today is Lisa Lunz to the Environmental Quality Council. Ms. Lunz was unable to be with us here today in person due to medical reasons. So I've requested that she send her introduction testimony, which will be read aloud by Glenda Ward and made part of our hearing record. And Glenda is the legislative aide of Senator Joni Albright, the district where Ms. Lunz is from. Real quick before you start, we'll have Senator Frederickson.
Hey, good afternoon. I apologize. I'm a little late. I'm John Frederickson. I represent District 20, which is in Central West Omaha.
Here we go. Okay. With that, Glenda, please go ahead.
Good afternoon, Chairman Bostelman and members of the Natural Resources Committee. For the record, my name is Glenda Ward, Glendaward, and I'm speaking as a representative of Senator Joni Albright's office. Senator Albright represents Legislative District 17 in Northeast Nebraska, which includes Wayne, Thurston, Dakota, and a portion of Dixon counties. Lisa Lunz lives in Dixon County and is one of Senator Albright's constituents. Her letter reads as follows. Dear Senator Bostelman and Natural Resources Committee, my name is Lisa Lunz, and I appreciate your consideration to be confirmed as a member of the Environmental Quality Council representing county government. My husband, Jim, and I farm in Dixon County. We have 3 grown children and 7 grandchildren. We currently raise corn and soybeans and have no-tilled for over 25 years. Conservation of the land is important to us, and we want to continue to improve our soils. I was also a member of the Healthy Soils Task Force in 2019 and 2020. A report was submitted to the state legislature from this task force. I have been involved in our community and at the state level during my career. I am a LEAD 17 graduate and served on the Wakefield School Board for 12 years and the Nebraska Soybean Board for 12 years. Currently, I serve as a Dixon County supervisor and have been chair of the board for the past 5 years. Agricultural education has been important to me, and I served on the Promotion and Education Committee for Nebraska Farm Bureau, and I am a member of Common Ground. I am also currently the past president of Ag Builders and the president of the Dixon County Farm Bureau Board. The conservation of Nebraska's natural resources are important, and by being part of this council, I hope to contribute to the discussion. I ask for your affirmative vote for this confirmation. Sincerely, Lisa Lunz.
Thank you, Ms. Ward, for that introduction.
You're welcome.
With that, we'll ask for anyone that would like to speak as a proponent for the gubernatorial appointment of Ms. Lunz. Any proponents? We did receive one letter comment and as a proponent on the gubernatorial appointment of Ms. Lunz. Anyone like to testify in opposition? Anyone like to testify in neutral capacity? Seeing none, that will close our hearing on the gubernatorial appointment of Lisa Lunz to Environmental Quality Council. Next, we'll have Mr. Marty Stange, is that correct, to a reappointment to the Environmental Quality Council. Afternoon and welcome.
Afternoon. Thank you for having me back.
Sure. Thanks for coming in.
Yeah, my name is Marty Stange. That's spelled Martystange. And I am currently the environmental director for the city of Hastings. And I've been with the city of Hastings for 35 years. Kind of moved up from engineer up to now I'm the guy that's responsible, right? So anyway, I'm currently a registered engineer for the state of Nebraska. I hold several licenses related to water, waste, hazardous waste, those kinds of things. I'm a certified water operator. I do work for the city that involves water, sewer, waste disposal, solid waste, landfills, Superfund sites, power plant emissions, and combustion residuals. And I have to say that when I got the job for the city of Hastings, they asked me what an aquifer was. I answered it, and that's how I got the job. So it was one of those things. So a lot of my work has worked with water, wastewater, and the waste side of things. So I've been working with the NDE for a long time, so I have a pretty good relationship with those folks. And some of my notable projects is the Hastings Aquifer Storage Restoration Project that we did. Had a lot of help from the health department and the NDE when those were separate at the time. Well D project is one that we did with the EPA and NDE that concerns cleanup groundwater that we're utilizing. The Wayland Energy Center is actually the treatment system. We pipe the water over to the cooling tower and it treats the water. So with that, I'll answer any questions you might have.
Thank you, Mr. Stange. And you're fulfilling the municipal government position on the.
That is correct.
Okay, thank you. Questions from the committee members? Senator Kavanaugh.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you for being here, Mr. Stange. It's Stange, is that right?
Stange,
Stange,
yeah.
okay. I'm trying to remember. Stange, okay. Thank you for being here. I think you might be one of the only reappointments.
Oh,
It
okay.
seemed like there were a lot of vacancies when I last looked. So can you just tell us what the responsibilities of the Environmental Quality Council are? And maybe for the folks who are here getting appointed for the first time, they can hear what are you guys supposed to do?
Certainly, the EQC Council reviews changes in the regulations. We hear a lot about their planning and the work that they're doing. So there were, always updates on that. The direction that we might offer to the staff and the director, tries to reflect what we see out in the real world. And so that they are, a little bit better prepared in, meeting the needs of the public. I like to say that the one thing that I came to this position with was that the NDE always had a good working relationship to keep you out of trouble. They want you in compliance. They want you to, they want to work with you. And I have to say that they continue to do that. And certainly being on the EQC Council, we help drive some of that effort is to make sure they reach out to the stakeholders and make sure that we get good compliance.
Can you give one example of just a regulation that you guys recommend?
The last one we did was the change in effluents for the pollution control facilities or wastewater treatment plants where they were going to require disinfection. And there was about 13 or 15, don't remember the exact number, of communities that still had not had disinfection because of their location and the conditions of the stream and so forth. Hastings was actually one of them. And we've actually been figuring we'd be asked to do that one of these times, but the regulations have finally matured enough that those smaller communities and the condition of the streams were such that, we needed to do that. So But we made some recommendations on how they might impose that to make sure that it's in a timely manner so that communities have time to finance it and so forth. And the staff had done a good job. So.
Thank you.
Other questions? How often do you meet?
At least twice a year, and it's kind of as needed, but I think it could be up to 4 times a year potentially. So yeah,
Okay.
it's not often.
All right. Any other questions for committee members? Seeing none, thank you for your willingness to serve and be coming in today.
All right,
Appreciate
thank
that.
you.
Anyone like to testify as a proponent for the reappointment of Marty Stange to the Environmental Quality Council? Any proponents? Seeing none, anyone like to testify in opposition to Mr. Stange to the Environmental Quality Council? Any opponents? Anyone in neutral capacity? Seeing none, we did not receive any comments online, and that will close our hearing on the reappointment of Martin Stange to the Environmental Quality Council. Next hearing we'll have is on Timothy Tesmer, I believe, it's an appointment to the Environmental Quality Council. Good afternoon, Dr. Tesmer.
Good afternoon. Get the things in order here.
You're fine.
Good afternoon, Chairman Bostelman and members of the Natural Resources Committee. My name is Dr. Timothy Tesmer, Timothytesmer. I've been appointed by Governor Pillen as the physician member of the Environmental Quality Council. This appointment began on March 19th. My current position within the state is the Chief Medical Officer for the Department of Health and Human Services within the Division of Public Health. I have served in this role for the past year. I come today with over 35 years of medical practice experience with a background of board-certified ear, nose, and throat medicine and surgery. The last 26 years have been spent back here in my home state of Nebraska. This combination of medical and public health experience affords me a level of broad-based foundation and understanding. As this council is directly involved with standards of air, water, and land quality and development of rules and regulations of such, I feel my representation on this council would be integral to continuing my service mission for our state. I am training on certification for emergency preparedness and response, which I think would be essential with any unforeseen events which could influence our air, water, or land characteristics. I am honored to have been appointed for this council and will serve with the highest integrity. Thank you for your time, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Dr. Tesmer. Questions from committee members? Sir Kavanaugh.
Thank you, Chairman. Thanks for being here, Dr. Tesmer. I know it's always dangerous to subject yourself to questioning from a Kavanaugh. But
Get that out of the way.
I'm fine.
I couldn't resist. You might not watch Natural Resources, but I'm the Kavanaugh on Natural Resources. I guess my first question is, so you work for the Department of Health and Human Services,
Correct.
right? My understanding of the Environmental Quality Council is it's an advisory role for Department of Energy and Environment. Is that right?
I believe so.
Do you think there's any conflict with basically the medical officer in HHS serving on the Citizen Advisory Committee for another department?
It's a very good question, Senator Kavanaugh. I appreciate that. And that has been looked into. A review and research done by the Office of Compliance, Ethics, and Privacy has determined no conflict of interest exists.
Yeah, and I appreciate that. I like the preparedness. I guess my question is, my understanding would be that the Environmental Quality Council represents many different interests, and it's a huge laundry list of people who have to be on it, right? Or you're serving as a physician perspective.
Correct.
And you are a physician.
Correct.
But is there, and I'm not talking about an ethical problem, I'm talking more about like, we're just missing an opportunity to get an outside perspective here by appointing somebody who works for the government to be on this board.
I look upon this as an opportunity as a physician who, like most Nebraskans, is integrally involved with the quality of air, water, and land. I look upon this as a opportunity for alignment, perhaps, between the NDEE, which affects standards for the qualities of those things, and the service mission, let's say, of the Department of Health and Human Services, Division of Public Health, involving the protection and promotion of public safety and welfare. So I look upon it as more of an alignment potential for the overall improvement of the lives of our citizens.
So some synergies. That's what you're
Yes, I'd like to see that
Yeah,
could be developed.
I hear you. I see the value in that, but there's something to be said, I think, maybe this is a statement, not a question, but I'll say it anyway, that having an outside perspective and maybe having somebody who works for one department, your voice might be listened to more loudly than a similarly situated person on the board. Does that sound right?
Well, I guess I understand your statement or your point. Again, I look upon this as my role as a physician, my hat being worn as a physician who is interested in maintaining the integrity and promotion of the public health. So I guess I do not look upon it as being a representative of another agency, but as an involved or interested physician.
So what I'm hearing you say is if the governor or the director of Department of Health and Human Services tells you, we would like the Environmental Quality Council to recommend this particular rule, you're not going to weigh that when you're making that.
Well, I would have to listen to those comments for sure, but then I would have to, again, take that into context in the position that I have been appointed or that I'm asking to be confirmed for, not as a route necessarily. I want to do this on an independent basis as the best of my ability.
Okay, thank you.
Senator Frederickson.
Thank you, Chair Bosselman. Thank you, Dr. Tesmer, for being here. Kind of a follow-up question. So as someone who is being appointed as a physician expert for the Environmental Quality Board specifically, what do you see as the primary threats to health and well-being of Nebraskans from an environmental perspective currently?
Well, I think one thing would be just the overall quality of our air and water and land characteristics. I mean, looking at any potential threats to each of those features. Again, within the lens of how could this potentially affect the public's safety and wellness? And again, I would like to go back to my training and preparation for certification in emergency preparedness and response. Should an event like that happen, I would at least be able to draw on that training and experience to help out in whatever way I could.
Sure. And would you consider, so you mentioned obviously an emergency event, an environmental event potentially, would you consider things like nitrate levels in water, for example, as a concern as well?
Well, no doubt about that. That's individual as well as public health concern. Nitrates, nitrites, et cetera.
Thank you.
Senator Mosier.
Thank you for volunteering to be on this committee, and I appreciate a man of the accomplishments you have, being willing to help out. I assume you don't get paid to be on this council.
I would have no idea. That's not going to make a difference.
You know, you could pull a stint in the emergency room and make a couple grand, or you could come and listen to all our problems.
I've been in over 35 years of medical practice. I've worn that hat a long enough time, I think.
well, thank you. Appreciate your service.
Other questions? Seeing none, thank you for coming and testifying. Your willingness
you.
to serve. Thank you. Would anyone like to speak in support of the confirmation hearing for the appointment of Dr. Tesmer to the Environmental Quality Council? Anyone speak in support? Seeing none, anyone like to speak in opposition? Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. My name is Ryan Nickel, RyanNickel, speaking in opposition to this appointment. I am concerned that he is not going to show up to public hearings. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for testimony. Other opponents, please step forward. Seeing none, anyone like to testify in the neutral capacity? Seeing none, there were no comments online on the gubernatorial appointment of Dr. Tesmer to the Environmental Quality Council. That'll close our hearing on the appointment of Dr. Tesmer to the Environmental Quality Council. Next appointment gubernatorial appointment will be Brad Bird, appointment to the Environmental Quality Council.
Afternoon. Thanks for having me here today, Senators. Brad Bird, B-R-A-D, B-I-R-D. I'm being considered for the labor representative to the Quality Council. Currently, I'm on the Nebraska Ethanol Board. I've served on that since 2017. I was formerly business manager of Steam Fitters and Plumbers Local 464 in Omaha, Nebraska. For just over a year now, I work for our international, and I represent about 16,000 plumbers and pipe fitters in Missouri, Iowa, Nebraska, and Kansas. My interest in this is steam. I'm a licensed steam fitter in Omaha, licensed plumber in Iowa and Fremont. And it just ties into a lot of the work that we do. You know, the plumbers protect the health of the nation. Steam fitters are everything energy. I'll be totally honest with you. I don't know a whole lot about what the council does, but when I was asked to do it, there's a lot of similarities that ties in. I'm very interested to serve and learn more, and be happy to answer any questions anybody has today.
Thanks for coming in today.
Thank you.
Questions from the committee members? You remember, I think we've had you for confirmation hearings on the ethanol board, right?
Yep.
So you're saying, yeah.
Yeah, not too long ago.
It's a pleasure to see you come in and your willingness to serve. Have you been to any of the meetings? Have they had a meeting yet with Environmental Quality Council?
No, I have not.
So they said there's probably two, so you're not gonna have any problems with being able to make those couple meetings a year in addition to the others?
It should not be, no.
Any other questions? Seeing none, thank you very much for coming in today. Appreciate it. Thank you
Yep,
for
thanks-
willingness to serve.
Thanks for seeing you guys again. Thanks.
You bet. Anyone would like to testify in support of the gubernatorial appointment of Brad Bird to the Environmental Quality Council? Any proponents? Seeing none, anyone would like to testify in opposition? Any opponents? Seeing none, anyone would like to testify in neutral capacity? There were no comments received online. That will close our hearing of the gubernatorial appointment of Brad Bird to the Environmental Quality Council. Next, we'll have the hearing on Mr. Larry Mohrman to the appointment to the Natural Resource Commission. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. I'm Larry Mohrman, Larry Mohrman. I'd like to thank you for the opportunity to serve on the Natural Resource Commission. I feel that the 50 years plus of experience in agriculture, coupled with the service on various boards, make me an ideal candidate. I currently live on a farm 2 miles northwest of Columbus, but also have ground southwest of Monroe, north Monroe, and southeast of Columbus. I farm approximately 1,500 acres with my son Lucas, who returned home to the family farm approximately 10 years ago. We have a 50-50 rotation of corn, soybeans, and in the past have had a farrow to finish operation. I currently serve on the Lower Loop NRD board and have since 2018. In the capacity I've served is Projects Committee and am currently secretary. In addition, I believe the experience I've gained serving on the Lakeview Community School Boards for 15 years, past president, Platte Center Elementary Education Board, 12 years, the Placo Pork Producers Board of Directors, Postville Cemetery Board, the Platte Center Farm and Home and Tri-Valley Co-ops for 15 years, and 3 years on the original board of Central Valley Ag, have been invaluable and would be an asset to the Natural Resource Commission. While on various co-op boards, I have served through 4 major mergeries. That process requires tough decisions to be made and not always one that a fellow farmer or sometimes neighbor agree with, but we're in long-term betterment of the cooperatives. In addition, I was part of the board that led the district consolidation for the Lakeview Community Schools. With a variety of boards I have served on and farming across multiple NRD districts, I feel I have the ability to deal with various issues that the NRC deals with on a regular basis. I also have learned the importance of being a well-informed board member and fully aware of the time commitment it takes to be an effective board member. I pride myself on being able to communicate with a variety of people on various levels. When interacting with farmers, board members, patrons of both cooperative and school districts, I feel I display a level of professionalism that represented everyone in a positive light.
Thank you for your willingness to serve and coming in today. Are there questions from committee members? He's a shoe in it.
Yeah.
Sarah Mosier.
Hi, neighbor.
Hello.
Want to say hello and say welcome.
Thank you.
So real quick, my question would be, and I'll get to you, Sarah Kavanaugh, in a minute. Since you serve on the Lower Loop NRD, do you see any conflicts that may arise, anything there that may cause concern?
No, I think it just gives me another perspective, and like say in this last, we put 2 areas into a new district for quality quantity, and let's say for my neighbor, I had an auger that we're neighbors, fence row to fence row. And he called me up and wanted to know why I voted to enable this, what we did. And I tried to explain it to him. And then he says, oh yeah, your auger's a foot in my ground. Please remove that today. So I think I'm willing to look at the bigger picture for the good of the what I'm working on.
Sure. Okay. Thank you. Sarah Kavanaugh.
I appreciate that story. That was an interesting example. I was just kind of, so you haven't been on the Natural Resources Commission before?
No, I have not.
Okay. Do you serve, in here it says groundwater irrigator. Is that the specific role
Yes.
that you would serve on the board?
Yes.
Have you ever had any interaction with the Natural Resources Council or Commission? Well,
Not personally, no.
Not in your work on the Lower Loop NRD or any
No.
of those other folks. Those are all great answers, but I'm just curious about the bus driver. So you were on the school board and now you're the bus driver?
Yes, I am.
Is that like a job of necessity for the school district?
No.
They need you to do it?
Well,
Yes.
anymore, yeah, anymore. At Lakeview, we have like 5 drivers, but they're all part-time. And when I got off the school board, I wanted to keep involved with the school. So I got my license to do that. And by doing that, it keeps me informed of what's going on in the school and the community.
Hear all the gossip on the ride.
That's all types of information. And currently, I do it. I'm their backup when they need somebody. I live 3 miles away. They can call me up. As being a farmer, I'm kind of independent, set my own time. And I don't do it. Yeah, you make so much money driving a bus, but just to be involved yet with the community and know kind of the pulse of the community.
Well, thank you for all the service that you do.
Say that's kind of my interesting point is you've got a lot of involvement in a lot of areas. And taking time plus the farming, that's commendable to do all of that. So
And like I say, now with my son coming back, when he came back the first 2 years, he was my helper. And now we're in the transition that I just want to be his helper. And he has a son that's a freshman that's getting more involved in our operation and stuff.
well, you're fortunate to have that.
Yes, and he did live in Lincoln, but he wanted to know if he could bring his family back to raise his kids on the farm and just to create a work ethic in the boys.
Sure. You're fortunate to have a family that wants to do that. Not all families do. So
Thank you, I appreciate it.
any other comments, questions? Seeing none, thank you very much, Will and Mrs. Herb.
Thank you very much.
Anyone like to testify as a proponent for Mr. Mohrman to the Natural Resource Commission? Any proponents? Seeing none, anyone like to testify in opposition? Any opponents? Seeing none, anyone like to testify in neutral capacity? Seeing none, we did not receive any comments online on the gubernatorial appointment of Larry Mohrman to the Natural Resource Commission, and that will end our hearing. Our next hearing we have today is the appointment of John Shadle to the Nebraska. Shadle, the Natural Resources Commission.
Good afternoon, Senator Bosselman, members of the Natural Resources Committee. My name is John Shadle. That's spelled Johnshadle. And I appear before you today for my consideration to the appointment of the Natural Resources Commission. I had the good fortune to be raised in rural Nebraska and to a family who enjoyed camping, hunting, and fishing, which instilled in me an interest in our Nebraska's vast natural resources. I hold a bachelor's degree in agriculture and a master's degree from the College of Natural Resources, both from UNL. I'm currently the Water Resources Supervisor for Nebraska Public Power District. In over 4 decades of employment within PPD, I've gained experiences working with natural resources, endangered species, water and hydrology, dam safety, and I'm involved in numerous projects in this capacity, which have allowed me to help participate in managing Nebraska's natural resources. I'm proud of my collaborative work with the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission, the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, the Army Corps of Engineers, U.S. Geological Survey, Nebraska Game and Parks Commission, just to name a few. As a lifelong Nebraskan, I remain dedicated to the mission of protecting Nebraska's natural resources. This concludes my testimony, and I'll take any questions you might have.
Thank you very much for your testimony. Sir Mosier.
Welcome to the Natural Resources Committee. You have great credentials, but 2 that you didn't mention. You're a brother to the guy that ran the fastest quarter mile that I ever saw. 46 seconds or 40.
Somewhere in that neighborhood, Mike, yes.
Are you half the athlete he was?
Not a 10th.
Oh, sorry. Well, luckily you don't have to run for this.
Right, exactly.
And then Jean is your sister.
Correct.
Yeah, she always tried to straighten me out when I was getting in trouble.
Absolutely.
In the same class.
A full-time job, I understand.
So just having those family members and knowing your family, not only are you qualified, but I think you're a great guy. So
Thank you, Mike.
I'd say that about Mohrman too, but I just don't know him that well. I didn't have his kids in my class.
Well, if your family kept him in straight, that's
doing something. Yeah.
Amen.
My question is you served on the Lower Loop Natural Resource District.
Correct.
Past tense, correct?
Correct.
And do you see, on that time, did you have any interactions with the Natural Resource Commission? How did that?
Nothing directly, but it did provide me, Nebraska Public Power District is a primary surface water user. But the NRD kind of introduced me to the groundwater and the whole interaction between ground and surface water. So I really did enjoy my time on the Lower Loop board.
Do you have much work? I know it's Loop Public Power District, but with the canal and the generation facility there, the hydro plant there?
Yes. Yep, I'm often, when I go to bigger conventions, people are amazed that we actually have hydropower in the flat state of Nebraska. But we have found a few hills to run water down, so, yes,
Lake North and all those areas, yeah.
correct.
So.
Correct.
It was a significant thing back during the flooding, how that blew out.
Exactly.
Our system and then how it could get rebuilt. That was significant.
Quite an undertaking, yes, it
It
was.
was, yeah. Okay, thank you. Senator Kavanaugh.
Thank you, Chairman. Thanks for being here, I'm sorry, is it Shadle?
Shadle.
Shadle. So first question, what direction was your brother running relative to Senator Mosier? Was it?
In the opposite direction as fast as
That's
he
what I
could.
thought.
Yes.
How many records are set, I'm sure. But thanks for your willingness to serve on this, and your background sounds pretty interesting. The one actual question I had is your references, you got a Tom Pill in it, any relation to the governor?
He is Tom's oldest brother. Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Governor's oldest brother?
Yes.
And
Yes.
how many people are there in Columbus? Like 25?
22, 24.
24,000.
Oh, 1,000. Okay.
Yes. Yes.
Well, all of them seem to be serving on boards and commissions.
And they all know me.
And they all know
Exactly.
Senator Mosier, and they've all set land speed records in one form or another.
You should have seen his brother. Smooth, feet never touched the ground. 48 seconds. That's
I think that's right.
I couldn't do it.
12 seconds for every 100 yards.
Thank
I
you.
couldn't run 100 yards in 12 seconds.
Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
We'll leave that one alone. Any other questions that we may have? Thank you very much for all of this, Mr. Shadle? Right.
Right.
All right, thank you. Anyone like to testify in support of John Shadle to the appointment of Natural Resource Commission? Any supporters? Seeing none, anyone like to testify in opposition? Any to oppose? Seeing none, anyone like to testify in neutral capacity? Seeing none, and we did not have any comments for the gubernatorial appointment of John Shadle to the Natural Resource Commission, and that will close our hearings for today. Thank you all for coming. Thank you for coming in today. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Good job.
Are we on? Yeah. I think we'll just do the tomorrow.